What if achieving everything you've ever wanted in your life all came down to shifting your mindset? This is what we believe at the Mindset Flex podcast. Buckle up and get ready to expand your mind and get uncomfortable. Welcome to this episode. This is your host, Elise, and today we're talking about finding your passion. And I guarantee you this episode is going to be the opposite of what you think it's going to be. So let's start with the most common thing that I hear from people that want to change their lives because they're not happy with what they're doing. They're not happy with the routine that their life is. And that is, Elise, I just don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what my passion is, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I see people literally sit around, waste years, like so much time waiting to figure out what their passion is. And that is the wrong thing to do. That's the wrong attitude. That's the wrong approach. If you truly want to figure out what you're passionate about, you need to realize that that will only come from actually doing things. So all these people that you look up to, or the people that you're like, man, I just don't understand how you figured out what you wanted to do. Like, how are you so passionate? And why can't I find my passion? It all comes down to one basically rule of thumb, and that is say yes. Say yes to everything that comes your way because it comes for a reason. Opportunities and doors come into our lives for a reason. And so many times we overthink it. We're like, well, we don't have the funds, or my person won't support me. What are my friends going to think? Or, oh, well, I just don't have the talent. I don't have the background. I don't know the story that you tell yourself when things come up in your life, but I know you do because I have as well. And it's a very dangerous thing to do because that means you're assuming that you, just you, nobody else, you know the best on your life, like what is the best for your life, which is insane to think because we are so limited in our knowledge. You only know what you know so far from your life. You lack so much perspective, just like how I lack so much perspective. So let me give you the background story about how I got to where I am and how I figured out what I was passionate about. So right out of high school, like I talked about this before, I didn't go to like a college setting. I went to community college and I was super depressed and getting out of my eating disorders. And that's how I started going to the gym. And then I got offered a job at the gym and I said yes. And then some random person came up to me and was like, hey, you should compete. Here's a coach's number. And I said yes. I kept saying yes to things because I'm like, well, my life is literally at ground zero. I have nothing. I have no freaking clue what I want to do with my life, who I want to be. All I knew at 19, you guys, was that I loved skiing. That's pretty much it. Like, skiing has been my life for as long as I can remember. It's been the competitive edge that I've been seeking since I moved out to America. So all I knew was that I am competitive. I love sports, but I had no freaking idea what I wanted to do with my life. None. Didn't know what I was passionate about. So saying yes to competing, just literally saying yes to competing already, if I look into my life 8 years later, completely changed everything. And as I got into the bodybuilding world, the competing world, I started to figure out how to change your physical image. And that was the coolest thing. I mean, I just became obsessed with it because I'm like, how do they not teach this in school? Or how does nobody talk about this? And just like how I followed some fitness influencers, I got this desire to do the same thing. I'm like, well, I'm gaining so much knowledge. I'm figuring out how to actually get abs and what foods serve my body. I got to share this. I can't just keep to myself because if I was struggling in the fitness realm and in the eating disorder realm, I'm sure there's a lot of other people that struggle with the same thing. So guess what I did? I switched my Instagram account, my Instagram that everybody had in like 2012, posting about your vacations and your friends and your parties and all that stuff. And I just made an announcement, like a public announcement, basically saying, all right, from now on, my Instagram is going to be fitness. And at first I lost like half of my followers because they were all just like my high school friends and random people I met here and there. And they're like, oh no, we don't really care about that. So I started really from ground zero, but my desire was really to just share this knowledge with everyone else out there, because if I had my life changed by it, then I wanted other people to have the same thing. And literally, I never would have become an influencer or gotten into in the influencing world if it wasn't for saying yes to bodybuilding. And now, bodybuilding and teaching other people the ways of bodybuilding has literally become a passion of mine that I cannot imagine my life without. But I did not know about this passion until I said yes to something that I knew absolutely nothing about. Absolutely nothing. It scared the living shit out of me because I did not know anything. I didn't understand anything. And I felt like a noob. I mean, my first time walking into the gym, I literally was like, holy cow, I gotta go to the weight section. I don't even know how to stand right, you know? So that was the first thing that made such an impact on my life that helped me figure out one of my passions. And literally, it just came from years of doing it, like going all the way. And that's the second part of this. Like, yes, first you got to say yes. But the second part is you got to go all the way with it because you don't know what's going to come out of it unless you give it your freaking all. If I half-assed my show, if I half-assed my first prep, I would not be where I am today. I mean, literally just giving everything to that one thing that I said yes to changed my entire life. The second thing that was just a huge turning point for me was I had this idea of shooting weddings. Like I remember watching wedding videos when I was in high school, like in my spare time and just being like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And I'm crying watching them. And I'm like, wow, you know, it'd be so cool if I made one of these one day. It was a thought, you guys. It was something that I thought of literally in high school. It was something that I liked. I literally genuinely did not think that I would launch a wedding videography business and it would actually do very well. And that's how we're going into the second thing that I realized was one of my passions, which is videography. And when I was living in Jersey, the second time in 2016, I was like, you know what? I know this person who shoots weddings. He takes pictures. I'm going to ask him if I can go with him and offer a free video because I just want to see if I can even do it. Because at this point I was making like little ski films of our trips and I loved putting together like skiing videos, but I never actually thought about shooting a wedding professionally. I mean, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't know anything. I just had a creative side. And so I went with him and created a wedding film for free and the people loved it. They loved it. So I was like, wow, what if I do another one? And then I shot my second wedding in Breck. I spent like, I think an entire month after that, just like reaching out to every single wedding planner in Colorado. I had one film to show, the one I just shot in Jersey, but I was like, well, I'm going for this. Like, this is an idea. I said yes to it in my head. I'm going to freaking go all the way with it. And that's what I did. So I started with like a $500 wedding. And then within a year, I worked my way up to shooting weddings for $6,000, like just a video. And I got really good at it. I invested all my money back into my gear and created some dope films that I'll literally forever cherish. Like I'll forever have these films as something that I created. And so from this videography experience, I realized that I have such a passion for creating content. And I also realized that I hated doing it for money, which is why I shut my doors down and I do not take on any projects for money anymore. I love the creative work. I love to edit videos. I love to edit pictures. It really is one of my passions, but I realized that I hate doing it for money. But guys, I never would have realized that if I didn't go all the way with it, if I didn't actually like go from zero all the way to the top, all the way to the end, like made it a successful business and then said, yeah, this is a successful business. This is what I wanted. I got to my goal. And you know what? It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't like shooting weddings for money. I don't like having a deadline. I don't like it. So I'm going to not do this anymore. And that's how I ended up coming back to coaching and teaching other people how to monetize their social medias, which again, that's my passion right now too, teaching people sales and how to actually sell through your stories. I never would have realized this passion if I didn't start my Instagram page and kept going for 8 freaking years, even with like losing followers, engagement drops, like, I mean, having like dead months where I got nothing on my stuff. And so you need to realize that if you are in a place where you're just like, I don't know what my passion is, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life, it sounds like you haven't done enough. And that's just the truth. Sounds like you haven't tried enough things, and not just try. Don't be the person that tries and gives up after a week because it doesn't work out. That's not how things work. Everything that I've done, including an MLM, I've done that too. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to quit. I'm going to go all the way. Went all the way, never made the money that I wanted. I think the most I ever made was like $2,000 in a month, but I grinded with it. I put my heart and soul into it. It didn't work. And I realized, you know what? I don't like MLMs. I don't really want to do this. So I'm done. But if you are the person that just tries things, like you just dip your toes in the water, then you have no idea what the real temperature of that water is that you need to jump into. You don't know what that feels like. You don't know what it feels like to have your whole body in the water. You just dipped your toes and you're like, I don't really like this water. But you don't know what it's like to swim in it. You don't know what it can do for you. So if you have things on your mind, and we all do, we all have dreams and passions and things that we like, things that we enjoy, things that we thought about doing, write a list and start with a thing. Start with one of them. Just say, you know what? I've always wanted to start an Etsy shop. But okay, if I commit to doing this, I got to take it all the way. Like I can't stop until it becomes a successful business. And then I'm going to decide if this is for me or not. Because think about it. How in the world would you ever know if something is for you or if it's not for you if you don't make it successful? Because if you're just half-assing something and struggling through something, like you're starting a business and it's not working out the way you want it to, you don't actually know if it's for you. You're only experiencing the process that every freaking person has to go through. We all go through the struggles of it. The struggle is part of it. The place that you have to get to is the end point. And then you can decide, okay, do I actually like this? Like, do I like what the end point is? Do I like what I get from the success of this? Or do I not? You know, I've tried many things in my life and sought them through, like to the end. And some of them I really liked and some of them I really didn't like. And the things that I liked the process of it. I liked the results that it yielded me. I was like, yes, let's keep this here. We're going to make this part of my life. And now, like, the more I do and the more areas I expand to and try to bring the most out of it, I'm still learning about my passion. I'm still learning about myself every single day. Like, where I was last year is totally different from where I am today. Like, today, at this moment, guess what I'm passionate about? I'm passionate about this freaking podcast. I'm passionate about telling you guys what it takes to achieve your goals and dreams and live that life that you want to live. But last year, I didn't even have a podcast that launched. It wasn't even a possibility. It's been something that's been on my mind for like the past few years, but it's taken me a while to get to a point to actually launch it, to actually hire people to help me do this and then get the content out myself. And I'm going to give myself a year. I'm committing to an entire year, even if this podcast gets 0 views. I'm committing to a year minimum. And after the year passes, I'll be able to make an educated decision whether I want to continue with it or not. But so many people make the mistake of starting something, maybe even spend a day doing it, maybe a week, maybe a month, and then making a decision if they like it or not. Like, you know those people that start so many things and then they quit? And it's not because it's not for them. They don't even know if it's for them because they never even actually went through the entire process to get to the end. And that is my point here. That's what I want you to do. If you don't know what you're passionate about or you're not feeling fulfilled in what you do, I guarantee you it's just because you haven't tried enough things. And when I say try, you know what I mean. You haven't tried and then went all the way with it. So think about all the things that you've ever wanted to do, because I know you have them. We all have them. Think about them right now. List like your top 5 and the one that's been on your heart for the longest time, but you've been setting yourself back and maybe making all the excuses, which are valid. Excuses are always valid. But just because something takes a long time to start doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It took me over a year to launch this podcast, but I'm so glad that I did. And I can't wait to see what happens after a year. So this is your homework for the week and for the rest of the year. Pick a thing, pick a brand new thing that you have not started on. Get started, commit to not stopping, and maybe give yourself a year, minimum 6 months, minimum 6 months. Give yourself that time, commit to it, go all the way, no matter how hard it is, whether you feel like it or not, and then see if you like it, see if it's for you. and then pick the next thing that you've always wanted to do. I guarantee you, if you actually start doing the things that you've always wanted to do and you see them through and you get to the end, you will figure so much more about yourself. You will figure out what you're passionate about, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. But staying in a limbo, staying in where you're at and never actually making a move, never actually doing anything towards your goals is not going to help you. Passion doesn't just appear. It doesn't. You're not just going to sit in your chair one day in your backyard and passion is just going to fall down from the sky and you're going to be like, I figured it out. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. No, you actually got to do it. You got to do it before you're passionate about it, and then see if the passion sets in. And that's all I have for you for today. If you love this episode, please share it with someone you love. Please share it on your stories and tag me at Elise Fulop, ELIZFULOP. And I will leave you like I always leave you. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. I'll see you in the next episode.